Hi everybody, Pastor Kirk back in town after 3 days, Layla and me in Yosemite. We've got some beautiful pictures of us biking at Yosemite Falls in the shadow of Half Dome and on the swinging bridge. Sunday found us, by the way, worshiping at the Yosemite Valley Chapel, which was built 150 years ago. Teddy Roosevelt worshiped there. Sir Arthur Sullivan of Gilbert and Sullivan fame. He's also the composer of the hymn Onward Christian Soldiers. He volunteered as guest organist there in 1887. And we're pleased to report that the church there is strongly and unapologetically evangelical, which means they preach Jesus and they believe the Bible. The worship team there led 6 songs, maybe 7. I quit counting after 5. I nearly choked on the styrofoam communion wafers that are so popular for some reason. I do not think Jesus tastes like that. Give me that Hawaiian sweetbread. Isn't that great? Doesn't that taste so much better? Anyway, the service ran, in Yosemite, it ran 2 hours. And there were about 25 people who attended on a Sunday when all the campsites were full. Go figure. I hear Sunday's worship at FOPC was wonderful as usual. What else would you expect? But I bet you didn't have the view coming out of the church that Layla and I did. Look at that. Fantastic. Across the meadow to Yosemite Falls. And in April, as you can see, the faucet is on. And nobody turns it off at night either, which would have made the campground a lot quieter. Monday night, temps dropped like 30 degrees, plummeted, and the rain turned to snow. We woke up and the granite walls rising up from the valley floor were dusted with snow. Plus our RV leaked a little drip, drip, drip right over Layla's head, which was fine with me because she had to snuggle on my side of the bunk. Wednesday, April 17, we observed the 43rd anniversary of our first kiss. Yes. How did we observe it? How do you think? She still lights up my life. Anyway, hey, thanks for the time off. Everybody on staff needs a little break after Easter, and with the G2G campaign entering its 10th week, it was good to catch my breath, some sweet mountain air, before the final sprint to the finish line on May 19, which is our Pledge Sunday, Celebration Sunday. Hey, missions auction this weekend. We've sold over 300 tickets. We're all sold out, which is a huge, healthy sign that missions is a big part of our church's identity. We're committed to the Great Commission, and we're sending over 150 of our church folks on short-term missions. Those trips are transformational, and they'll be going to 7 countries this year. Saturday, I'll be waiting tables and sharing in the auctioneering duties. See you there. Hey, this Sunday, one of the nation's leading organists, Jackson Borges, is going to be performing on the bench keyboard and pedals of our very own church organ. Jackson's a longtime friend of our late and beloved church organist Carol Hawk, and he'll be offering this concert as a memorial performance in Carol's honor. That's Sunday at 3 p.m. Jackson's a church organist in Newcastle, Delaware, where, by the way, the very first Presbyterian church in the history of the United States was organized in 1673 by Francis McCamey of Scottish ancestry. Okay, unfortunately, Jackson plays in Newcastle at the Lutheran Church, so it's kind of irrelevant. Prayer vigil next week, Friday, Saturday, April 26, 27, okay? Next week, our church is hosting a 24-hour prayer vigil. Don't tune me out. We're going to pray for the needs of our congregation. We're going to commit the future of our church and the success of the G2G campaign to the Lord. You know, we're not asking you to pray for 24 hours, although that'd be an interesting challenge. But I am asking everyone in our church family to express your support for the Christian Ed building and for our church's future by signing up and showing up for 1 hour of prayer during that vigil, beginning at 6 p.m. and going until 6 p.m. the next day. And yes, you can sign up for more than 1 hour. But every significant venture for God starts with prayer. You know that. See, Nehemiah chapter 1. We were preaching about that last week. And this is the last Sunday before the vigil, so please sign up this week. There'll be sign-up tables all over the campus, in the cafe, in the worship center, and in Arise. Prayer walk and bless. Okay, the last Sunday of April, April 28th, is going to be awesome. It's week 4 in our Nehemiah series. And our hero, Nehemiah, arrives in Jerusalem and conducts a secret night reconnaissance around the broken walls of Jerusalem. You can read about that, Nehemiah chapters 2 and 3. Okay, spoiler alert. He then gathers you should know this anyway, you've read it, right? He then gathers the Jews residing in the province and he rallies them with the challenge. Hey, God's in this. Let's rise up and build. And each family in the province takes responsibility for building every segment of the wall. Okay, I hate to give the story away, but the wall gets built in 52 days. 52 days. He prayed for 120 days. He had about a 5-minute interview with the king, and then in 52 days after he arrived in Jerusalem, the wall is built. That is not a miracle, folks. That is just God's people committed to doing God's work with God's blessing. And we can do that too. So we're going to preach through this passage on April 28, and then after a brief but robust time of worship, we're going to head outside and we're going to walk, just like Nehemiah walked around the walls of Jerusalem. We're going to walk the footprint of the new children's and youth building that we believe God wants us to build. And we're going to then split up into different prayer stations, and we're going to pray. And then we're going to rendezvous in the church plaza and surround all the families of our church, parents and kids, from in utero to high school age and their folks. And we're going to surround them. They're going to be surrounded by the whole church family. We're going to lay hands on them and pray a prayer of blessing on them as we conclude our worship time. Last Sunday in April, that's just 2 Sundays from now. It's going to be a huge day in our church's spiritual life. Don't miss it, okay? All right? All right, that's enough for now. Just talking about all that is exhilarating and exhausting and also energizing, but I think I need another vacation. Love you, church. See you at the auction.